Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living the Midlife Dream with me, Danielle Mulger. Look at who's sitting next to me. You have to hold this up when you talk.
Okay.
It's my mom. I have my mom here today.
Yes.
And, I wanted to have my mom on the podcast, and I was telling her that a friend of mine from ago that's known my mom for a long time, she said, Danielle, did you ever think about having your mom on the podcast? And I was like, yeah, I know, I want to. And in my mind, I was thinking to have you on for decorating because my mom is a really good decorator. And then she said to me, no, your mom is, when she was in midlife, that's when your dad died and your mom's going through menopause and she had all these things going on. You should have her on to talk about that. And I was like, oh my God, you're right.
I know. It's crazy. 'Cause I was thinking of that then.
Yeah. And well, also as you're my mom, so we don't really tend to think of our moms as people. Right?
Right.
That go through
or
things.
going through anything.
Right. So, mums,
Yes.
welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm so excited, Daniela.
We're here on my blue couch.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's just start. I have questions on flashcards for you.
Okay.
Yes. Well, the easy one that we kind of just touched on was when I thought back to it, you lost dad,
Right.
your husband of how long?
33 years.
Your husband of 33 years, also your dad,
Yep.
and also a business,
Yeah.
all in the same year while going through menopause.
Correct.
So how old were you then?
I was 53.
It's crazy.
I was 52 when everything happened. As far as Dad becoming ill and Pop passing suddenly. My father was doing well, and he went in the hospital for it was something with his heart. I can't remember, but anyway, while he was there, he got C. diff,
Yeah.
and he died from that. So,
And then exactly 3 months to the day, Dad passed.
exactly. Yes.
And then you had menopause.
Yeah. Well, during that, yes,
God.
it was.
Horrible. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when I was 50, I was having symptoms, and I went to my gynecologist, and she said, "You're too young." I said, "No, this is what's going on. You're just too young." And she didn't think I was, but I knew I was.
And what's crazy is that was 23 years ago, and they still do that stuff now.
Really?
They still will just be like, oh, you could go in there with a whole list of symptoms and they don't even think
Recognize that.
that it could be menopause. That happened to me when I was 48, 49.
Right.
I definitely was in the thick of perimenopause then. But all right, well, let's just start with, we'll get into all of that stuff. But how did you navigate your grief while also, because I feel like you moved forward in life and you didn't yes, of course you were sad.
Yes.
But I don't remember you sitting around crying, or maybe you did that without being in front of me.
Right. I never wanted my children to see me crying. I always tried to be strong in front of you, but that was really, really hard going through all that with Dad. Just everything. First he had the AVM and then cancer. So just going through two crazy things like that out of the blue.
Yeah, because he was always healthy. That's where I
He
feel
was
like,
a health nut. Yeah. He was like the epitome. He did everything right.
yeah.
So, the cancer was genetic, and the AVM, apparently he was born with that. But normally, if you're born with an AVM, which is arterial venous malformation, it's something in your brain. It's like a mass of veins, and it gets bigger and bigger. Normally, by age 20, you have something.
Mm-hmm. That it bursts.
Yeah, it would burst. And he made it to age 60, and it burst. So that was unusual, but he made it through that. Just as he was recouping from all that, he started complaining about pain on his side. And I'm like, oh no, you're fine. And then we found out that, he had gallbladder cancer. I'm like, I can't believe this. I couldn't, how can that happen? He's just recovering, which he shouldn't have recovered.
Yeah.
So I remember coming home from the hospital and we were at the stoplight and I looked at him and I said, there's no way you're going down with this. There's no way. You were made to survive that because you're going to help people. I really believed that.
Yeah.
And I really didn't believe that he was dying until that September before he did, when we went down Fox Chase and they told us.
Yeah.
That was when it really hit me.
But I think he did help us because he had that specific weird cancer, gallbladder. You don't really hear about that.
Right.
And then one of his brothers, a year and a half later, has it.
Right.
And then we all got tested. And so now any of us that got tested and were positive we're on top of it. So he
Yes.
did help us.
That's great. I never even thought
Yeah.
that of it. And that's so true, Danielle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what role did friendships, family, and community play in your like healing and thriving?
Well, family was unbelievable. Everybody was right there. And all of Dad's brothers, he was the oldest of 9 brothers and sisters, were there through everything. I remember like we would all walk into the doctor's office, like my children and I and all the O'Briens. And in the neighborhood, they were fantastic. They did everything. You know, anything I needed, they were there. And when he did come home and he had to go to rehab, they had a meeting, they set up people to take rides, drive him to rehab. So
Amazing.
I was very fortunate with the support that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the neighborhood that I grew up in, I was like 3 years old when we moved into that neighborhood, and all of the parents still live there. And we call it the hood, but all of the kids, you know, we all grew up together, and everybody says it's like a Brady Bunch neighborhood.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're amazing people. All right, let's switch gears
Okay.
because you've since remarried. So what made you open to the possibility of finding love again after being happily married for 33 years?
I just didn't want to be alone. And I really want back what I had. I just want to get that back.
Like the relationship.
The relationship
having
and
someone.
love and having someone and sharing a life with someone. Because Dad and I had a great relationship. And, you know, I was 20 when I got married. I was 53 when he passed. I thought, well, I have a lot of years ahead of me. I don't want to be alone. So I started dating, and I was very naive. I just assumed everybody was like Dad, a good man. Nope. So, so I decided I'm done. You know, I'm just going to be alone the rest of my life. And 2 weeks after saying that, I met Bob in Doylestown. I was sitting by myself at a restaurant. He was at a restaurant across the street. And it's a long, really good story, and I won't tell you the whole story. But he saw me walking down. He watched me sit down. He kept thinking somebody's got to be joining her. And when nobody joined me, he came and sat at a table next to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cute.
And yeah, so
Now, how was it for you to bring Bob around at first? Were you nervous?
I was very nervous. Yeah. Yes. You feel guilty.
Yeah.
So I felt real guilty all the time. And I knew everybody's thinking about Dad. It was really difficult, but I knew Bob was a good man. And I truly believed that Dad sent him to me, because that first night I met Bob, we were walking around Doylestown, and I said to him, "How old are you?" And he said, "Oh, the year I was born, the best piece of music that was ever made came out." And I said, "What was that?" And he said, "Did you ever hear Mac the Knife?" And I'm like, "My God, that was Dad's favorite song. He used to sing it, he used to dance to it." And
he loved it.
I remember like looking up at the heavens and saying thank you. So that just did it for me. I mean, that was a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you said it was hard to bring him around because we're all thinking of Dad, this was before Dad was even sick. I don't even know why we were talking about it, but he was like, well, you know, if something ever happens to me, I'm laughing now because he was like, you know, I want Mom to get remarried. And I just looked at him and I'm like, I don't think, I just gave him such attitude. And I said, well, I'm not going to be friendly to the person. And I was an adult. I was married with kids. And he looked at me, he goes, "Come on, grow up." And I was like, ew.
Sounds like him.
Yeah, so rude. But, you know, Bob is amazing. We all love Bob. And we know that Dad's not coming back, and Dad would not want you to be sitting alone.
Yeah.
You know, you're a young, vibrant woman. You got to get out.
Yeah. He told me that too. We spoke about that, and that was before he was sick. I remember when we spoke about it, and I remember us sitting at the kitchen table and him saying that to me, and I said, "No, I feel the same way about you." You know,
so
kidding,
funny.
but of course.
Well, I've said it to Kevin. I'm not kidding. I'm like, don't be thinking you're going to find some little
No way.
I mean, I want him to be happy, but anyway. No. All right, let's talk about midlife. What advice do you have for any midlife woman, whether they've been married, divorced, had a husband that passed, or maybe they were never married, but they just are afraid to put themselves out there to find someone? Do you have any advice for that?
Oh, you just have to. I mean, life's too short. And you don't want to be alone. You have to put yourself out there. Find a girlfriend, go out and have a drink. Although that's not the place to meet someone, in the bar, what I was told many times. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Take a chance. You have to.
Yeah. If
Be
you want it, you got to
positive
go
about
after it.
Yeah, if you want it, it's like anything in life.
Yeah.
If you really want it, go get it.
Yeah. All right. What was, do you remember what perimenopause was like for you?
No, I don't. See, I'm not quite sure if, I know I didn't go full-fledged into menopause, but I do remember hot flashes, which progressively got really bad with the sweating and, working out. When I would work out, when Dad was sick, I had a trainer come to the house and she and I would go in the back room. I would start profusely. I was like, it was so embarrassing, sweating.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I remember like with perimose, I started to get migraine headaches. Yeah.
Huh.
I do remember that, which wasn't comfortable, but
Did they really talk about perimenopause then?
no.
Is that a term?
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying it because that's what I'm thinking that was.
Yeah.
'Cause that was before I really got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember I started in my late 30s with perimenopause.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember saying to you, it's perimenopause, and you said, you're too young for that.
Right.
But it was, I would start with, the itchy eyes, if you
Yes,
remember.
I remember that.
And that was very cyclical. It would come once a month, and then I started with the rash on my arms.
Right.
So that stuff lasted until, every now and then I still get it, but
Yeah.
that's when I first started noticing symptoms. So I just want to say to anybody that's listening, I think it's really important, number one, if your mom is still living, to talk to her about it.
Right.
At least start taking notes. I'm always saying that.
I know
Take
that's
notes.
a great thing
Yeah.
you do for your girls.
Yeah. And then if, I would even tell my daughters to talk to you. Because, like, if you had the chance to talk to your grandmother, like, more and
Yes.
more grandmothers now are going to start, like, knowing, like, I'm going to be a grandmother soon.
Yes.
And I'm going to have notes. So I'm just saying, like, it's so great to have notes. Can you imagine having your
'Cause they're
grandmother's
younger.
notes? But that would be so cool to have Nana's notes
Oh.
to be what she went through. And
Yeah.
because it really is, I think, it's not going to be my same experience. Like, our experiences aren't going to be exactly the same, but somewhat, at least you have some idea. Okay, my mom had this at this age.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think also with me, I think stress brought it on really hard for me too, because I remember
Yeah.
being in the hospital when Dad was in ICU and they moved him down to the regular floor. And it was,
Yeah.
it happened in the hospital. I thought, oh my God.
Please leave me alone. Why do I
Yeah,
have
leave
to?
me alone.
My husband's sick. He's in a coma. Why do I have to deal with this?
Yeah, so stress really, that brings on a lot.
Yeah.
Not only menopause, but anything.
Did you ever try doing HRT?
I was afraid to take anything, but what I finally did was I got the patch and I cut it in half and I used it whenever I really needed it.
Oh.
So I didn't use it constantly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
They would never say to do that now.
Well, nobody told me to do that.
Okay.
I just did that on my own.
Okay.
Yeah, they said to use the whole patch, and I forget how much you were supposed to use it, but I just used it when I really
When you had
needed
hot
to.
flashes or
Yeah,
something?
really hot flashes.
I know, they're debilitating. Everyone's heard, that's listening now, has heard me talk about all of even last night, the sweat. And
See?
mine's cyclical.
Yeah. See, I didn't get it during the night, which is strange.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. But, I'd be in somebody's home decorating, and all of a sudden I'd break out in a sweat, and I had to run into their bathroom and try
Yeah.
pull myself down.
It's embarrassing.
The same.
Beads of
How
sweat.
get through it.
God. What is Mom's perspective on approach on aging?
Well, I don't know. I always feel like I'm much younger than I am.
Yeah.
I think it's all in your head how you approach it. So just be positive, go with it. You can't do anything about it. And you're always going to look the best at that moment.
Yeah.
And like right now, we look the best.
We're the youngest we're ever going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just try and approach it and, do everything you can. But I don't believe in surgeries and that type of thing. But just, take care of your skin.
So when you say do whatever you can, what do you mean?
As far as like,
Healthy?
yeah, eating right, exercising, taking care of moisturize. So important.
We were talking about my grandmother, Nana, my mom's mom. I had the most amazing skin. How old was she when she passed?
92.
Okay. And her skin probably was better than mine is today.
She had no wrinkles.
No wrinkles. And I remember asking her one time, Nana, what do you put on your skin? oh, oil of Olay.
Yep. She always had that little bottle on
Yeah.
her dressing
Or
table.
she'll be like, olive oil. I do a lot of olive oil. It's like, what?
What, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. She put on her
No,
face?
no, just
Oh,
ingesting it.
ingesting
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just that Italian skin is so
yeah, you
perfect.
have it, Danielle.
I also
Please.
have a little Irish in me, so
Just a little bit.
no offense to the Irish people.
Dad had Italian in him too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Marty was.
I was just in Italy last week, and I told someone there, I said, I'm like 75% Italian. He's like, how do you figure? I'm like, I had, what's that called? DNA test, whatever.
23 DNA.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, let's talk about your skincare routine then.
Okay.
What do you do? Do you have one?
I do. Well, I do. I moisturize morning and night. I use vitamin C. It's a vitamin C cream. I love it. And now I'm using this it has collagen in it. It's like a liquid. It's a clear liquid. I've been putting that on in the morning too, and before the cream. But
Where are you getting all these tips from?
well, the vitamin C, I started that more than 10 years ago. I went for a facial and a woman used it there. It's by Image. You get it on. Yeah, I love it. I don't know. And vitamin C in liquid form, I like that too. I'll
Yeah.
put that like here on my eyes just for the wrinkle part. I'm a big believer in vitamin C, and I think, what's the name of the company that makes it? C and E?
The SkinCeuticals?
SkinCeuticals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use that too. It's
Yeah.
expensive.
It's so expensive, but I know you can find that less expensive.
Yeah.
There are other brands and if you look at the ingredients, it's almost like the same,
Yeah.
the potency.
I think it has to do with too the way that you want to get it in a dark bottle or something because it
That's
can
right.
oxidize or
That's
yeah.
right. And that's also the thing with the cream. It comes, with a lid, but underneath that, there's a little plastic lid that you have to keep on top of that because it loses its potency. But
All right, so we do vitamin C, we do a collagen serum.
I get a dermabrasion every 8 weeks.
Okay.
I love that. And then she does a facial after that.
What's the dermabrasion?
So that's like it's like a razor, and they just take off the top layer.
Oh, that's a dermaplane.
Well, she calls it dermabrasion.
I thought that was like a polishing thing, but I'm not a facialist.
Okay.
But you get the shaving, what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do that on your own, or you have somebody do it?
I do it both with Marina.
Yeah, I go
Yeah.
to Marina.
That's the best. I'll
is
put
the
her in the
best.
show notes.
And my skin looks,
Yeah.
skin looks really good after she does
Yes,
that.
when
It's
you
like
leave-
glowing.
I get in the car and I'm like, hello. But it
Yeah.
doesn't last that long. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
All right. But you've done lasers too, right?
I have. I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm next age. I don't just keep up with the creams. I don't know. I think the last one I had, I didn't really notice a difference. And they're expensive.
Yeah. They are very
Yeah.
expensive. I wonder what you have done. But your skin
It
looks
was
very
something-
good.
It was something light. It wasn't like a heavy duty laser. It was
Okay.
something where you recoup pretty quickly.
They're not worth
So
it.
they're
I think.
okay.
I don't think
Maybe
so.
that's the problem.
Yeah. And they're still expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like $500.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy.
All right. So we do all that.
Yeah.
We didn't really do HRT. I have never thought that you look at aging in a negative way.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. You're right about that. Just try and
Do you have friends that get down on being older?
like, it's funny you say that because I was with a friend yesterday and she's like, well, we're getting older. Like she talks like that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
because of our age. I'm like, no, like I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we look great for our age. Oh, yeah, but in a couple of years you're gonna, So no, I don't believe in doing that. Just be positive and be happy.
I know.
It's so hard for people to be happy with who they are.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, of course, we're all down on ourselves once in a while, but
I mean, I definitely
what's
get
the
down.
alternative here?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So
I don't know. I think it's just I myself compare. I can get into that and it's not even comparing to other people. It's comparing to how I used to look
right.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can look
no.
at pictures. I'm like, ugh. But at the time, you're not happy then because you're looking back. It's like, all right, come on. Like we just said, today's the youngest we're ever going to be. So in
And it's a beautiful
probably
day
2
out.
It is.
Yeah.
But probably in 2 years, I'm going to look back on this time right now and be like, what was I kidding?
I know, Danielle.
Yeah.
I think like that too.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
What's I down about? My gosh.
And life just can't be about dumb shit.
No.
Yeah.
You really don't know what, we learned that lesson hard with Dad. Like he was great one minute and the next minute he wasn't. Yeah. So you just don't know what each day is going to bring you. So just be happy, enjoy your life, be a good person.
Yeah.
Try and be a good person.
And Aunt
Do the
Katie.
right thing. Yeah, and Aunt Katie too. My God, she was the healthiest nut.
Yeah.
All the O'Briens.
Healthiest nut. That's
Yeah.
where I get it from, everyone. My dad's side of the family, the healthy nuts. All right, let's close this by talking about your latest exciting thing that happened like last year at this time.
Last year.
You we'll tell everyone what happened. You got a little job working for QVC in New York.
Yes.
70, were you 72?
72 at the time.
72-year-old jet setter over here.
So my friend is the design set. He does design sets for QVC. And his assistant couldn't make this. They were doing a show with Busy Phillips in New York City. And he asked me if I could be his assistant. I'm like, yes. So went to New York for the month of May. And I also did the month of November. And it was so great. I mean, I work out every day. I walk or I lift weights. I do something. I do yoga. So I believe I'm in pretty good shape and I can keep up.
Yeah.
And I did. I kept up with all those youngsters that were there. And they were so great towards me, all of them. It was like I was one of them. I mean, everybody was so kind. But that was such a great experience. I met a lot of celebrities, and it was just so much fun just to be in New York with Dan. And every night we went out to dinner somewhere. It was a great gig.
Yeah.
So they were just there in May, but his assistant was able to go. So I'm hoping maybe she can't go soon enough and I could go back.
You can go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up with, I have one question for you. If you could go back and tell your midlife self something, what would it be?
Wow, that's hard because I was going through so much then. I think, life is so short. It really is. And you just don't know what each day is going to bring. So just live your life and be happy. Don't worry about what other people are saying or doing. Just get through your life and be happy with it, and everything will work out as long as you think positively about it. Make it work.
I think, Kevin and I have a saying that we've always said, and it's very true because we believe it, and it's everything always works out.
Yeah.
So it's more like, yes, you can say, be positive, but I think like you have to have something you believe in like that. Like,
you're right.
We believe it. Everything's going to work out. Just believe it. Keep saying it over. So same thing.
Same thing.
And it does.
It may not work out the way you thought it was going to work out, but that's maybe the way it should work out.
Yeah, right.
So, be happy.
Be happy, everyone. All right, well, that wraps it up, Mums.
Oh,
little blue couch.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you, too. And you, everyone, thank you so much for listening, hanging out with me and my mom. I'm going to put Mums is... Oh, I didn't touch on that, but I like to call her Mums. I don't know why. We don't know why, but... it's a nickname that came out of nowhere. But I'm going to put her name's Connie. I'm going to put her Instagram because I think you need to start posting more of her decorating stuff. She has basically decorated my whole house for me. Remember the one year on Halloween, I sent Kevin out with the kids trick-or-treating and my mom and I like redecorated the family room in between trick-or-treaters coming to the door and I was getting annoyed with the trick-or-treaters.
Of course, because they were interrupting us.
But anyway, all right, thanks for listening, guys. And if you like this episode, please rate it, review it, please share it, and we will see you next week.
Ciao.